What about now? Can I be heard now? No. I have two streams. Two streams at the same time. Hold on. Here we go. What's going on? Hold on. Right, so I can be heard now then. Ah, God, do I have to start all over again? All right, let me start all over again then. Oh, where am I going? Where am I going with this thing? Right, going back to it. Okay, where are we a month on? And I brought everything else up earlier. Right, where are we a month on? Right, so if I go back to where we were a month ago, um, right, a month ago we were right. So a month ago we were playing in friendly games. We played against West Ham and we saw Ange Ball. We played against the Sailors. We saw Ange Ball. Played against Tottenham with one team, Team A. Saw Ange Ball. Played against Barcelona in the Juan Gamper Trophy. We saw a B team, if you can call it that, Ange Ball. And then we went to Brentford. And in my mind, we were going to Brentford, and I was so happy with what I'd seen in pre-season. I was happy soon as Postecoglou came along. So with my shorts and my videos that I've done beforehand, I was so happy with Postecoglou, and I knew it would be front foot football. Um, Unlike a lot of people said, yeah, but we're going to get smashed playing this way of football. Some games we're going to be so open, blah blah blah. I've looked back and I remember saying this in a few streams, saying I don't remember Postecoglou in previous clubs, when I've looked him up, I don't remember him getting destroyed and monsterized by many teams. Um, I think most of the defeats or the heavier defeats that he got last season were in Europe and not in the Scottish Premier League. And going back to uh, when he was managing in Japan, he didn't take too many tonkings in Japan either. Generally, he gets players on side and playing the football that he wants, and people being free to express themselves. Now, I've previously said on other streams as well, and I've been saying it, so I've got to be true to what I've said. He exudes confidence in players. He works with what he's got. He's made decisions, and I said this all along because I'm not about hyping it up and trying to get clickbait, but I've said all along that my belief is that he is coming. He assessed the squad. He assessed the squad ages ago. I mean, he took most of them on tour for pre-season, but he'd already assessed the squad and he assessed them out there. His decisions have been made from a long way out on what he wants to keep and what he doesn't want to keep. There may have been, according to people outside of the club, i.e., us, the supporters, there was a preference for Endon Bailey over Lo Celso, which quickly changed, if that's true. But there was also people saying that Reguilon was going to be in his plans, and in the first two squads he's named for the Premiership, he hasn't named them at all in there. Um, it's interesting that Dyer was I said this at the time, that Dyer was the captain for the Barcelona game. I know it's only a friendly, but he was a captain for the Barcelona game. And I said at the time that from his appearance in that game, I said that he'd probably put nails in his own coffin because he didn't move, he never moved the ball quickly, he was doing a lot of pointing again, slowed games completely right down when there was no need to do it. And yeah, I didn't think himself done any favours and put nails in his coffin then. He has got an idea of what he wants and what he doesn't want. Now it's up to the club, which was my other thing, was the ins and outs. It's up to the club to now decide whether, or sorry, for the club to actually go and do their work and try and out the players that are not needed, because it's popularly known now. You can Google it and look it up, but we have a squad of 31 players. We need to trim that down to 25. We can only have a maximum of 17 homegrown. We have 20 at the moment. Uh, Non-homegrown, it's good to have 8 minimum in your squad. We currently have 11. So that means even you looked at either side, that's 3 of each. But that brings you down to 25, and that's not including under 21. So all your under 21 players do not get included on that list. So if you're going to buy players and you want to make things even, then you need to get 6 out just to be evens. And then if you sell a homegrown, you're going to need to replace them with a homegrown, unless you've got someone in your under 21s. But then you can't replace them with a non-homegrown because that would mean that we're over our allotted homegrown. So if 6 did go out the door, then we'd have to look carefully. If we were going to sell our non-homegrown, then we could bring one of them in, or we could bring a homegrown in. But we can only go light for light because at the end of the day, we can only pick 25 in the squad. And the squad has to be announced for the Premiership for the 2nd of September, the day after the transfer window closes. Um, the other thing that I think that not many people have spoken about is that in Saudi Arabia, their window closes on the 7th of September, I believe. So therefore, even though squads get announced and your players get picked and your transfer window is closed, the Saudis could still come and plunge and take players from around Europe up until the 7th of September. So looking at so the month's been good. So we've played 2 games, we've got 4 points. I saw a lot of people turning around and saying, well, we ain't going to get much out of the games. We're away at Brentford, really tough. We're going to lose at home at Man U. I was never subscribed to that at all, but I heard a lot of other people subscribing to it. Listen, I wasn't at the game at Tottenham Man United, but I know that Adrian was in the chat earlier, and looking at some of the others, Nick and some of the people, we are Tottenham TV, some of the people that went to the game, absolutely impressed. I mean, at the game, we can see what we can see on telly, but if you go to a game, you can see how the play's building up. You can see the whole pitch, where on television they only pound on the area of concern where the ball is. So you can see patterns of play, and you can see, and apparently, by all accounts, from what people are saying, it's really, really impressive. Um, it's interesting because I just looked it up just now, and it says that our next 2 matches, um, we've got a 49% win chance of winning our next 2 games. It wouldn't let me go as far as the game after that, so it was only letting me go up to. Let me see if I can share it again. So if I click into Bournemouth Tottenham, it says that it's a 49% win probability for Tottenham, 26% win probability for Bournemouth, they're at home, and 25% the draw. Bearing in mind we're in 6th with 4 points, and Bournemouth are currently in 14th with a point. They've won 1 and they've drawn 1. But then if I click into the game after that, which can't be the Fulham game because it doesn't give you nothing for the EFL, but if I click into a Burnley versus Tottenham, which is the game in the league that we have after the Bournemouth game, it says to me again 26% Burnley, 25% draw, 49% Tottenham. And I'm looking at this stage now at that match. Burnley have only played 1 game because their match versus Luton was called off. So that was a 3-0 defeat against Man City. And obviously we still will have 4 points, although we still got Brentford to come. And if I look any further than that, it doesn't give me win probability on anybody else at all, because after that, I was looking at Tottenham, Sheffield United. Said we actually got a home game, but it's not giving us any probability. I mean, what do you guys think on Bournemouth away, then Burnley away, and then Sheffield United at home? If you really want to do good things, I would have said you'd be looking at least 2 wins and a draw, at least, at the very least. Would you be happy with that? Would you be happy with 2 wins and a defeat? Or do you think we should be going out and getting all 3 wins, all before the London derby, on the 24th of September with Arsenal. Um, let me see. Right, so yeah, so I'm really sorry that you lot couldn't hear me earlier, but who we got? We got Tot Spurs. Hello, Tot Spurs. I had another stream set. I didn't know that. What I will say to you, Tot Spurs, is I've spoken to Chris, and I'm hoping that by the time we next do a show on his, that you would be a moderator. Um, Ian, Ian, who is a Darlington fan. Sorry, that's my wife in the background calling our dogs in from the garden. Ian, who is a Darlington fan. Big up to you, sir. Um, Big up to you, and also to Adrian, who's probably given up because he couldn't hear me. Right, now again, right. So most clubs should average 2 points per game. Okay, so we average 2 points per game, Ian. That means that we would look at the next three games as 6 points. So that would mean 2 wins and a defeat. Top Spurs is saying let's have as many wins as possible. I mean, looking at Saturday's game, I mean, I don't know what the outcome is with Maddison, but they're saying that Maddison's injured, and the likelihood is at the moment that he will probably miss the game. And if he's going to miss the game, it means we have to change the lineup again. Now, do we have a replacement? Because at the moment we'll say, yeah, we've got Lo Celso if we're going to play that system. But by today's reports, and it's only reports, we again, it's brilliant this reporting stuff because we can't believe everything that we read and hear. But they're saying that Lo Celso's not happy because he said he was told by Postecoglou, according to reports, that he would get game time, and he's not had any game time at the first two games, and apparently spat his dummy out the pram, and after two games for not getting a chance. Or do you go in with Hoiberg or Skip? Because you'd like to think it would be Papa Matsar again and Maddison, but who will be the third midfielder? Only if Maddison is out. Would you look at changing the forward line? I think the defence speaks for itself. The defence has got to stay as it is, or at three of you've got to have Destiny there, Mickey van der Ven and Romero, and then a fourth, whoever that may be. But yeah, regardless of that, I mean, I watched Bournemouth play, and they've got. It's funny because they bought a load of new players, even the boy from Bristol City that we were after, and they didn't play. The new players didn't play at the weekend. Well, the boy from Bristol City didn't play, and they've just bought in Adams from Leeds, and I don't think Adams is going to be playing because I think they've bought him with an injury. Um, yeah, I think they've bought him in, but he's been injured. Um, and I noticed that I can't remember the guy's name now. They've got the tall fella. Is it Billing that plays in midfield? And I didn't see him play at the weekend for Bournemouth. They played Solanke. Solanke played up front, but I didn't see uh, Billings or whatever his name is. The tall 6'4" fella. I didn't see him play. So, yeah, sorry, Ian. You're quite right. That's his name. The young boy is called Alex Scott. Um, So, watching the Bournemouth game, I don't know. What do you guys think the score will be? I mean, it's midweek now, but I didn't see any demons from Bournemouth, and I expect us to go away from home, and I expect us to dominate. To be fair, I expect us to have the lion's share of the possession against Bournemouth, and I'd be disappointed if we didn't walk away from Bournemouth with a result. Sounds like I'm being really flash about that, but you know the way that he plays, I would be expecting to walk away, or the way the team plays and the way he's got set up, and I'd expect us to be walking away with a victory. Um, yeah, Totspurs, you're saying that you think Lo Celso can step in. I'm not saying he can't. I agree with you that he should be able to step in. But what I'm saying is that the reports today are saying that he's thrown his dummy out the pram, his toys out the pram, or spat his dummy out, thrown his toys out the pram because he's had no game time and he's not happy with Ange. Uh, but I'm thinking to myself, 2 games in and you're already thinking like that, you know. Um, but yeah, as I said, I'd be disappointed if we couldn't leave with a result. And it's not high expectations. It's just the way that we play football and watching. It's the same as what I said about the Man United game. If any of you saw me on any of the other streams last week before the Man United game, okay, I went for 4-0 Tottenham. Well, the one I got the four wrong. It was a two, but I got the zero right. We kept the clean sheet, which I don't think anybody predicted a clean sheet. Um, and I'm predicting another clean sheet this weekend. This weekend as well. It's just that we need to score a goal in order to win the game. You score one more than the other, you win the game. We keep a clean sheet. Score one, we win. Um, so yeah, so I'm not. I just think that with what we've got and what we're building, we should be going to Bournemouth and thinking to ourselves, victory. The game after that, however, is against Burnley away. Yeah, because we've got 2 away games on the spin, haven't we? Um, I'm sure it's Burnley away. Yes, it's Burn. I'm not talking about Fulham in the cup now. I'm just talking about league games alone. So Burnley away. Now, Burnley away. I looked at Burnley last year, and they had a load of loan players. And someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but they had a load of loan players. I know they had the boy Teller from Southampton, and there's other players I had on loan. And I know they've made signings as well because they signed that goalkeeper from Man City, didn't they? But they had a centre off, Harwood Bells, and I think he was on loan, and he had a really good season. And I think he was captain for Burnley last year. I'm sure they got him on loan from Man City. But I looked at Burnley last year, and when I looked at Burnley last year, I thought footballing wise, I thought they were really good footballing side. And after an iffy start, and I don't know if anyone's got Sky documentaries, they've got a four episode thing on Burnley's their last season at Burnley. And if we look at Burnley, Burnley started off, they didn't start off great shakes in the league, in their league campaign. And they made changes in the transfer window, but I'd already played a few games because of the World Cup. I think the league started like the beginning of August last year. So by the time the window had shut, they'd probably played 5 games in the league already. So they bought in some players towards the end of the transfer window. And then again, they bought in more players again in the winter transfer window. But a lot of these players were on loan. They didn't buy players, they bought a lot of these players on loan. Obviously, they've got promoted. They played good football in the second half of the season and they ran away with it. But in running away with it, when the season ended, they have lost a lot of the squad that they had last year. A lot of the loan players seem to have gone back and not been reinstated. It's either that or they have got a multitude of injuries. Because when I saw their lineup for Man City and I saw their bench, it was unrecognisable to the players that played last season. Um, and some of their regular goal scorers, their names were missing from the team sheet as well. So I had, going on a tangent here, but I had what's it called? I had Burnley staying up, and I think I had my bottom 3 were going to be Sheffield United, Luton, and I think Wolves because of all the fanfare that's going on at Wolves at the moment. However, my mind has been changed now from watching the first uh, 2 games of the season. My mind's been changed. I actually think Everton are in trouble. Um, and looking at Burnley, I'm now going to say Burnley are in trouble from their, and it's only 1 game. I know people will scream pelters at me, but just looking at their team that I saw the other day, I didn't feel that they were as strong as the team that I saw last season playing in the Championship. And for that, I think that Burnley have got to be in my bottom 3 again now, um, or fighting for that bottom 3 along with Everton. I don't think it's clear cut that Burnley will stay up from what I saw first game from the team sheet. Wolves, I thought against Man United, I thought, oh my God, if Wolves play like that, then they're not going to be in trouble. And then they went and got battered by Brighton. But against Brighton, they actually played well in the sense that they created chances. They did exactly what they did against Man United. They created chances, but they couldn't put them away. And going back to going back to Tottenham and that, when last week on the channels before we played Man United, I did say if Man United put out the team they did against Wolves and they play the same system they did against Wolves, then we will eat up the midfield because Cunha did that for Wolves. And lo and behold, um, and Man United supporters have said this. Man United supporters have said that they were a bit wary that Ten Hag is going to play a 3-1-6 system and that he's going to go for this progressive football. Um, and that he's going to be set on it and he's not going to change. A bit like Postecoglou set on the way that he plays and he's not going to change either. So from there, from there, um, that's what led me to think 4-0. But then it only ended up being 2-0. And what I will say is that it actually happened. He played that system. We didn't so much in the first half, although we played tidy football. In the second half, our midfield completely destroyed them. They made Casemiro look a really old man. They made Mason Mount look like probably one of the worst buys of the season at 55 million quid. Um, and yeah, as I said, for us, I'd be disappointed. I'm now thinking about the Burnley game as well. There is no reason whatsoever. Company likes to play football, and I will give that to him. They're not the old Burnley. Company does like to play football, and in that sense, I just feel that we have, and the way that we play, and that we are and play possession football, and the footballers that we have in that team now, I think that we should have enough. And I think we're going to have more possession than Burnley away. And providing that we can, this will be the third and the fourth game in, if I don't include the Fulham game, because that would make it the third and the fifth game in. If we pick up a bit more speed, pace, a bit more awareness of the patterns that we're trying to create on that, then I don't see why we shouldn't be going to Burnley and getting a victory there as well. Um, yeah, Ian, you're quite right. All of the bottom teams knew need a 20 season goal a season player, but I think that we need that with all teams in the league. I don't think it's the teams at the bottom. I think everyone needs it. I mean, looking at the teams at the moment, the only team I could turn around and say have got a 20 goal hit man on their books at the moment is Haaland. Um, I'm not including penalties on this. If I was to include penalties, then the people would turn around and say that Salah's got a chance of getting 20 goals. I don't even know if he got 20 goals last year, but Salah's got a chance of getting 20 goals, but he takes the penalties. Um, Although Haaland takes the penalties, Haaland could score 20 goals from open play quite easily. I start looking at the rest of the teams and I think to myself, Chelsea, is Jackson going to score them 20 goals this year? We can look at our own Richie. Is he going to get 20 goals this year? I look at Arsenal. Is Jesus going to get 20 goals this year? Or Nketiah going to get 20 goals this year? Man United, I don't even know who their striker is. Um, Do I see Hoyland when he comes back to play? Do I see him getting 20 goals a year? Nah, he only got 8 last year in Italy. Why would I see him getting 20 with Man U? I think, I mean, yeah, if you look at the strikers in the league, I don't know why, because the only one that I can see that's been sold, or the biggest one that's been sold, is Harry Kane. And then I'm looking around and I think to myself, well, who are the other strikers within the league? Um, Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think teams are now relying on goal scorers coming from everywhere. So teams that play a 4-3-3 are relying for their goals to come from the front three to be split between the front three players. But I don't think there's many teams that play a 4-4-2 anymore. I mean, you can look at Newcastle. Newcastle could play a 4-4-2, but they don't. They choose to play with one. So it's either, there's not many times you see Isaac and Wilson start on the pitch at the same time. But is there a case for one of them two getting 20 goals this year? I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, looking at the games and then looking at Sheffield United, I watched Sheffield United. I know Sheffield United have lost both of their games by one goal. Um, is that because defensively they're set up well, or is it just the two teams that have played against them and not been able to put the ball in the back of the net? I don't know. But having Sheffield United at home, there is no reason whatsoever, and there isn't no reason if we carry on picking up the methods, taking on board what Postecoglou says. There is no reason why we can't get 9 points in our next three games. Um, it'd be interesting to see the lineup that he sends out. Um, that he sends out against. It'd be interesting to see the lineup that he sends out against Fulham in the cup, because for many years Tottenham managers have been accused of, even when Pochettino was there, have been accused of not sending out um, teams to go and win cup games, and that really we should be aiming for a cup. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of team Postecoglou sends out against Fulham, to see how serious he is about the cup. The other thing is, as well, is that we need to be mindful is that Fulham haven't had, I don't think they've had the best start to the season either. Um, and therefore it'd be interesting to see not only what lineup Tottenham put out, but what lineup Fulham put out. Um, because early on, Fulham as well look like they don't look the team that they were last year in the first couple of games already. Um, so could it be that they're going to struggle as well this year to try and finish anywhere near where they did last year? And if that's the case, then uh, Silva's got a choice to make. Does he prioritise the Premier League over a cup with Fulham? So it'd be interesting what team he sticks out. But then, like I said, with Ange, it'd be interesting because, um, and the other thing that's interesting is the game that we're playing is next week, the 29th. So that is still before transfer deadline has gone. So it's a minefield. It's going to throw up a lot of things, isn't it? So um, big up Bobby K. Just seeing that you've come into the chat. It's quite difficult. It's the first time I've ever done this. And so you've got a StreamYard link, and then I've got the YouTube link, and it's difficult to see when you're in one to the other when the messages are coming up. Um, so yeah, in a nutshell, it'd be good to see the 9 points on the board before the Arsenal game. There is no reason why we should have EBGBs, hide behind sofas, hands over your eyes, palpitations, profusely swearing. We shouldn't. This is all a thing of the past for all Tottenham supporters. It should now be, up and at them and get behind Ange and the team. So there's no reason, in my opinion, why, as I said, if we've taken on his methods in training, a few more minutes in the legs and stuff like that, why we cannot go forward in the next three games. I'm not including the cup game, in the next three games, and get 9 points. There's no reason for it at all. Um, and also, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, I'm talking now. We still got to play Bournemouth on Saturday, and then I'm already talking about the cup game as well, and thinking to myself, well, it'd be interesting to see what side he sticks out, because we do want to have a good cup run. That's what I believe we want to do, is have a good cup run. Which then brings us to my next point. I only had 2 points to chat about, and that is what do we think about the ins and outs? And the reason why I've put this there is because, as you're all aware, I did touch on it earlier about the squad numbers. We currently have a squad of 31. Got to bring that down to 25 for the 2nd of September, the day after the transfer window. For those that don't know, and I'll repeat again, we've got 20 non-homegrown and we've got 11 homegrown players. You can only have 17 of the non-homegrown. That's the maximum you can have. Doesn't matter how many homegrowns you've got. You could have 10 of the non-homegrowns of 15 homegrown. That doesn't matter. It's your non-homegrowns. That seems to be the bigger number for teams here in England. Your bigger number of your squad of 25 is going to be made up of non-homegrown, because we now import and buy players from other leagues and bring them into our league. Unlike if you go to certain other countries, you'll find that more of their squad is made up of their national players or from their nation. But here in the Premier League, it's definitely, most teams are made up of non-homegrown over homegrown players. Never used to be the case. Tottenham used to have a big homegrown contingent back in the day. but I suppose a sign of the times we roll with like everybody else does at the moment. Um, but then saying that, it'd be interesting. I think I've said all along, I don't think we have a negotiating team at Tottenham. It's very difficult because we always find it difficult to move players on, or we have done for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and there must be a reason behind that. Um, People will turn around and say it's because we haven't got a director of football, and therefore the director of football can't speak to agents and can't get the ball rolling. To me, it's okay. We haven't got a director of football, but I don't think we've got a negotiating team. It's the same as you work in any company. In any company, when you're bidding for, you've got a bid team, a negotiating team. Um, but we don't seem to have that at Tottenham. And if we have, then I'd like to know who they are. I mean, I keep hearing about Gabby Adini, and I'm hearing as well, obviously, about Paratici and Daniel Levy. But at the end of the day, if Daniel Levy's elsewhere like he was when he was in Australia, then that leaves who's doing your bidding for you then? Where are people going? Who's doing your bidding for you then? And I just feel that there's a lot of players that we need to try and move out. Now, I've heard stories a while ago that that we were going to rip up contracts, but I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, really, we're going to rip up contracts? Because we've not heard anything since. Now, I know the window doesn't close till Friday week. I think it might be. Yeah, I think it's Friday week. Right, doesn't close till Friday week, but we're cutting it late to make them kind of decisions, aren't we? Unless in the background, them conversations have started with people already. Um, Today, I think we've heard that Lloris to Lazio, they're talking again. I've rumours are saying Tanganga into Milan if the Pavard deal was off, but it looks like the Pavard deal is on now. So then Tanganga is now being linked to Luton and Everton. Sanchez is being linked to Rennes. Um, Endon Bailey has just turned down Nottingham Forest, but is also being linked to Rennes and one other club. Gio Lo Celso is being linked to Barcelona. Reguilon's being linked to Real Sociedad. And sorry, my dogs are now barking. There's someone at the door. The list goes on and on, and it's not about the list going on and on, and about the comments that are being made and the rumours. I don't want all that because that's what they are. They're just rumours. I want clarity. I want to see clarity. I want to see that we are trying to get players out, and if players are making it, being obstinate and trying to make it difficult to leave, then as a club, let's make that decision now. I'm bearing in mind that I work in business as well, and in the business I work in, we wouldn't be going up and ripping up people's contracts willy nilly. So I know it's a last resort, so to speak, but I think things have gone so stale that we need to start doing stuff like that. Um, so yes, it'd be interesting. I mean, I've named about 7 or 8 players, but I'm thinking to myself, really, you're looking at about 9 players to go out, uh, and if you get the players, the 9 players or whatever that you need to go out, then you can start bringing players in. What I'm surprised about is this Gift Orban deal. Gift Orban is an under 21 international. So, and sorry, regardless of international, he's under 21. And if you bring in Gift Orban, he neither goes on the non-domestic or the domestic list as an under 21. You can have as many under 21s as you want. So, I can't understand if you've been scouting the player for a long time and you've spoken to him and he's one of your choices to come in, why can you not bring Gift Orban in? Forget about Bobby's just putting about the Kane money. With Gift Orban, you wouldn't have to think about selling or players or whatever because he would be naturally bought into as an under 21. So he fits the numbers quite clearly. The Kane money, Bobby. I mean, I don't know. People tell me that we haven't spent the £50 million from last year. That we haven't drawn the £50 million from last year from the 150 million. You're hearing rumours about that. Then you hear rumours that FFP we could spend up to 440 million without getting collared by FFP. But then I hear other rumours saying that the money that Tottenham bring in from Formula One and from concerts and all stuff like that goes into a different account and it's not attached to the Tottenham Football Club. So therefore, are we really able to use that money? I'm not sure. And with the Kane money, if I look at what we spent so far this season, if people have it right, we bought in Porro and Kulusevski. Although they'd been with the club last season and one had been with us for half a season, one had been with us for 18 months, they were made permanent. And I think Porro cost about 39 million. Uh, Kulusevski was over 30 million. It's under 40, but it's over 30 million as well. Then when you bung in Van der Ven at 43, and you start looking at the other transfers we made as well, Madison another 40. Who's to say, Bobby? I mean, I don't know. Was the Kane money already? Has Kane money already been spent? Because if you look at net spend, if you look at the amount of money that we've paid for transfers, and Vicario's come in as well that we had to pay a transfer for. The only person we haven't paid a transfer for is Solomon. So if you look at the amount of money we spent, I can't. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing off the top of my head. We've probably spent about 180 million. And if you're getting 100 in for Harry, that means our net spend at the moment is 84 million. So who knows? I mean, I don't know whether they put the money for Porro and the money for Kulusevski. I don't know whether they budgeted for that for last year. It depends when the company does, well, when Tottenham do their books, because here in this country we know that most of the companies, or sorry, a lot of people go by the tax years, and the tax years runs from April to March. But there's a lot of companies that do run their books from January to December. So it depends how we run our books, whether as to whether we've got the money or not. But yeah, to me, it comes down to having a department that can negotiate the transfers out. Um, and yeah, I'm not one of these advocates that's going to say we need to get rid in order to buy. I think you take the plunge and bring players in if you've already got a plan in your back of your mind that you were going to do some contract breaking, that you were going to pay off people's contracts or rip them up or whatever. Then if that's the case that you were going to do that, then it shouldn't give you no fear for going out to buy some players as well. It all depends on who your thoughts were that you were going to, whose contracts you were going to rip up. However, regardless of that, we have a busy, what are we today? Tuesday. So we have a busy 8 days, 9 days, 10 days. We have a busy 10 days. We have a busy 10 days, and a lot of that busyness is going to be getting players out of the club. But by the same token, we need to be busy trying to bring players in. People tell me that Rome wasn't built in a day, and I appreciate that. But I'm a long-suffering supporter who thinks to himself, if we can get the majority of our business done in this transfer window, i.e., when I mean the majority of our business, getting rid of as much deadwood or what we believe deadwood to be at the club, get as much of that out and get as many of the priority spots and players that Ange needs in, then it means we've got to do less work in the winter transfer window and in next summer's transfer window. The one thing I will say is I'm hoping that people have been watching Tottenham for the first two games of the season, and by this I mean other players and stuff like that. If they've been watching us, they would see the type of football that we're playing, and what we're doing. And I'm hoping that people have now thought to themselves, do you know what? I wouldn't mind going to that club. That club plays front foot football. That club is doing something I want them to do. That I'd like to be doing, and I'm hoping that we've had an effect on people or on players, prospective players, and that people have turned an eye and looked at Tottenham and think, yeah, that could be somewhere I could go to, and that will be somewhere I can go and play at, and that's what I'm hoping. So yeah, so the upshot is there's a lot of work to be done, and yeah, um, we need to yeah get ourselves out and really pimp ourselves for 10 days as a club and pimp ourselves in getting people out and bringing people in. At the end of the day, if we're looking to hold out for X amount of money, we ain't going to get it. We can see that already. Because if it was that case, that people would pay us the money, we would have sold players by now. We ain't going to sell players for loads of money. The players that have value, uh, and I will say, not that I want him to leave, but Lo Celso would have some value. Højbjerg would have some value. Well, unless conversations have taken place already, then it's going to be really difficult to try and get these players out and get a decent fee from. Because if you're not leaving it to lastminute.com, lastminute.com is when people come in and do a Levy, like Levy does, gets in last minute, buys or gets a deal that he thinks is fantastic, and usually it's the wrong player, but we got them really cheap, and it was a player that we didn't need. But I'm not saying that other clubs will do that, but they will come in and do the really cheap thing. Hello, Chris. You just come in. I only did this as a test. I'll be honest with you. I only did it as a test, and it didn't work for ages. And I've had so many gremlins. If you go back through the chat, it will tell you that no one could hear me and I couldn't do nothing. So I lost everything. I don't know. I probably started speaking about 20 odd minutes ago. I probably lost about nearly the first half an hour, not being able to speak to anyone. I don't know if you're not busy. Do you want to come on? It don't bother me. If you want to come on, let me know, and I'll get my phone and I'll try and find out what this link is. All right, let me see. All right, let me see. Let me see. Chris, how do I get Chris? Christopher. There we go. Right, I've sent you the link, Chris. See if it's worked. Christopher for friends. I've just sent you the link. Christopher for friends. Let me see. I don't. Well, if you do come on, I haven't got a clue because I've never ever invited anyone, so I don't know how it works. I've sent you the link on WhatsApp, I think. Good morning, Chris. Bobby, so it must be. Is it still morning where you are? Because it's like 4:05 in the afternoon here. So I thought it might have been your afternoon. Oh no, hold on, 4:05. No, you still be in the morning. God, you get up early then, Bobby, because I saw you hours ago. 11:05. Okay, so you're 5 hours behind. Oh, but well, I saw you at least a couple of hours ago. So yeah, so if I saw you at least a couple of hours ago, then you must be yeah, you must get up really really early. In saying that, then we all really get up early, but it's relevant to the time zones that we're up. Not received nothing. Right, it says to me that I've sent you the link by message. Hold on. I've done it this way. Sorry, Chris. Can you have a look again and see what it says this time? Bobby, what do you do for a living? 3:30 in the morning. Well, you're a milkman. They're the only people that get up that early here in England. The people that are milkmen, or some people that the postmen and the post workers, they probably start their shifts at about 5 in the morning. But 3:30 in the morning, drive a city bus. What time do your buses start operating from, Bobby? Because here in England, mind you, in London, I think they might have 24 hours. I'm on the coast, and where I am, they definitely don't start at that time. Where I am, they start at about 8 in the morning, the first bus. 7 or 8 in the morning, the first bus. Shit, your buses must start really early. God, you're 24 hours. Okay, so you're 24 hours. So you must be, well, you said you're in a city, so you must be, yeah, being in the city is probably why. They start at 2. Boy starts when he wants. Right. I'm worse than Royal Mail. I'm going to send this again, right? Because I'm sending it to you. It's telling me that it's going to you. Right, send it again, and it's got a link at the bottom. So tell me how I'm doing, what I'm doing wrong. I've sent it to you again. This is interesting. Methods, nothing. You're worse. Worse. I'm still worse, am I? Okay. Nothing worse than Royal Mail, Bobby says. I don't know. Do people actually use the Royal Mail anymore? Um, me, the only letters I ever receive now in the post are crappy ones. The ones trying to sell you things, and where someone's got hold of your address and whatever, or the occupier. Um, right, I ain't got. Hold on. Nothing spelt in French like usual. Right. You're going to have to tell me how you normally do this, Chris, and I'm sure that we'll have a chat and you'll tell me, because for me it doesn't work. But for you, it does, because you're able to send it to me. So I'm learning. I'm learning all the time. X. Right, I've just sent it to you. I've just had to type it all out. So hopefully I've sent this. I've now messaged this to you. And hopefully that works. Right, as I was saying, Royal Mail. I don't think I've received a letter from Royal Mail for, I couldn't tell you how long. It's always propaganda or trying to sell you crap and stuff like that. I don't receive anything. It's all people now messaging this thing. You get unsolicited texts and all sorts now. Um, I can't remember the last time I bought a first class stamp. I now know that they're well over £1. Oh, here we are. It worked. You're there.
Bloody useless. Bloody useless.
Do you know what? I've had nightmares. I'm here now. Thank you for coming, Chris. I'm here, but it's been absolute murder. I remember when we did your one
Yeah,
and we had the issues at the
sure.
start of your one.
Yeah,
I did a private one this morning, right,
yeah.
to see if it worked, and I was hanging on for ages. I didn't appear on YouTube, so no one could see me because I did it all private, and I didn't appear on YouTube, and then I didn't have a clue what was going on, and then all of a sudden, I thought, yeah, I've worked this out, so I put a stream on for 3 o'clock, and then I've gone in at 3 o'clock, and then no one can hear me. I've been sharing my screen, I've been doing stats. They said you can't even see you moving.
Can't hear you.
And you can't hear. So that's what happened
Oh,
for the first half an hour. I can't hear. So
Sorry about that, man. Oh
That's
dear.
all right. But it's now worked.
Oh, it's working now, yeah.
Right, yeah. Good morning, Chris. Glad to see you finally figured out how to click on the link. It was
Well,
me.
it's all my fault. Oh
It's
dear.
me. It's me. It's me. Oh
I
yeah,
can't
Chris.
see the chat. I'm sorry about that, but I'm on my phone, so I can't see it.
That's all right. How are you?
Um, I'm not going to down the show, so I'm fine. Thank you. I'm
All right.
good.
I'll have a chat with you after. I'll have a chat with you
Yeah,
after.
sure.
Um,
Um, hello,
go on.
everyone. I hope everyone's keeping well, safe, and in good spirits. Thanks for being on Jose's because he deserves it, and yeah, hope everyone's cool.
Well, I'm going to try and do what you do and try and get out there a bit more often. But I needed to see whether it worked or not because I got told you needed to have at least 50 people. Uh, if you had 50 subscribers, then you can do it. I haven't got 50, so I've chanced it to see whether it worked or not,
Okay.
and it has worked. So
Okay.
otherwise, I wouldn't have even attempted. I wouldn't have gone on because I would have believed you needed 50. So
Yeah. Well, you're going to get a knock at the door later on, probably, but you do as you do as you will.
Tot Spurs is in the chat. He's saying hello
Hi,
to you.
hi, Top Spurs.
I did say to Tot Spurs earlier that by the time you next stream, you'd have him as a mod.
Oh no, I made him a mod that same night, I think. So the next day, something like that. I think I
Eh,
made him. Sorry, on Saturday. On Saturday, I made him a mod.
and
So
where'd you make mods? Where'd you go to
so
do that?
basically, thanks to Mia. Big shout out to Mia. Spurs Between the Lines. If you haven't, go over to hers. Basically, what you do is you click on the person, and there's like normally, if you're in the chat, if you're just a chatter on someone else's show, or you're watching someone's program, you get hey Bobby K, big shout out to you. Always a pleasure. Normally, if you just click on the chat in anyone else's show, you get remove or block. Um,
Yeah,
Bobby K. But if you're obviously on your own program, on your own show, you get like 5 or 6 options. Well, that's me. What are you doing that for? I'll send you some dirty messages. Don't put that out. Um, you've got like make moderator, do, and like, so you can just basically, if you try it now, if you just click on someone's name yourself,
yeah, I've
um,
done that.
yeah, so you can
Where you in StreamYard?
no, in the chat, you go to the chat like
In
what you're doing
StreamYard
now.
or in YouTube?
No, StreamYard.
Okay.
Right, if you just go in the chat and you just hi Totspurs, if you click on, for example, my name, just or Totspurs or anyone, just
Yeah.
to do the test,
It's,
it will give you about 5 or 6 options, or 4 or 5, something like that, and it will say remove, block, make moderator, or something like that. So that's the way you can do it. That's the easiest way. So
put
that's how
user.
Mia showed me.
Okay, it says put user in a timeout or ban user and delete their comments. Or you can star
Okay.
someone, or it says show and hide.
Is that
So
um
I'm in StreamYard at the moment. And it's telling me so. If I've got Tot Spurs at the moment. So it says show, so that's
right.
showing.
um,
Then it's got
not okay. Well, that's the way Mia showed me anyway. What you can do is after the stream, when you're finished.
to make you a mod. Sorry, yeah, look, right. To make a mod, you have to do it in YouTube chat, not StreamYard.
Oh, sorry. So, yeah, yeah, I did it after the stream. That's what I was gonna tell you. After you finished, and when you've got it already in YouTube, you can go into the chat, into the comments, and you just click on the person, and you can make them. That's the way I did it anyway.
Okay, so it says managing moderator can
Yeah, yeah.
manage
There you go.
block words, change chat modes in live,
Yeah,
and
it gives
also
you different
standard.
options. Yeah.
And then standard is can review and remove chat messages. So what did you do? Managing moderator or standard moderator?
You are my CEO along with Ellie, so you're the top one.
Okay.
And I think Top Spurs is, I can't remember, but I think it doesn't make a difference because I think you're all blue. So
Right, let me have
as
a
long
look.
as you just as long as you don't start a fight, you're all right. But
Right.
Totspurs, yeah. Thanks for the offer. If you don't want to do it at some point and you want me to make you like a normal pleb, then just say so and I'll remove you as moderator. No problem. But thank you for the offer, and we can sort things out. No problem whatsoever. There's no exclusivity. There's no, that's the Totspurs. So whatever you want, man. Whatever you want. There's no no obligation, man. So just
Thanks,
get in
Bob.
contact.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Bobby. I think I've worked out
yeah,
how to do it.
sure.
What I will say
Thanks.
is I saw Totspurs. Totspurs is a moderator on another channel. I saw him the other day.
I think Totspurs is on Mia's, at least. So if he can do it on Mia's, I'm sure that could do a good job on mine. So
Oh well, then
you just
Totspurs is if Totspurs is me, he's also somewhere else because
okay, okay.
I saw him modding somewhere else.
Well, I'm sure that he can put it in the comments if he feels like it or not, or that's up to him. But I'm
Well,
sure that he'll do a good
can you
job. Wherever.
are you able to type anything in now or not?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I can't do anything because I'm on my phone. I can just.
Okay.
I'm just.
Because
I'm just a floating head.
I've made you a mod.
You made me a mod.
Yeah.
I'm a rocker, man. I'm not a mod. I'm a rocker. But anyway, thank you.
Tottenham away. That's it. Tottenham away. He is. He's not on
Oh,
me.
is it?
He's
Okay.
Tottenham away.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. Cool.
I knew I saw him somewhere else. I knew that.
Is it not me? Oh, I thought you were. Oh, I do apologise. Oh, I thought it was.
No, I think Mears was the other person who was on with us the other day.
Oh, because I watch so much stuff. I thought it was. I do
No,
apologise.
within our chat the other day when we did your show,
Sure.
there was someone that was speaking to Top Spurs. So
Tequila.
tequila is
Tequila.
Mears. Tequila is Mears.
Ah, okay. I got you mixed up. I do apologise. Sorry about that.
So, question for you then, Chris. If I go
Yeah.
back to my banners,
Sure.
right. So I started it off with where are we a month on, and what I did is I shared. I can share it. This is where I showed you that presenting stuff when we did it before. So what I did is I just looked at our matches that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
So it would go back. So we lost to West Ham in a friendly 3-2.
Yeah. Okay.
We beat the Sailors 5-1. We sent out Team 1 against Shakhtar, Team 2 against Barcelona. I don't mean it as A and B 1 and 2, just two different teams.
Yeah.
And then from there, formed assumptions, which you and I have discussed many a time. And then we
Yeah.
played Brentford. Played Brentford and
Yeah.
drew 2-2. And now we've just beaten Man United 2-0.
Yeah.
So a month on, where are we, Chris?
I think we've made leaps and bounds. Definitely on prior years. Under Angie's reign, definitely we've seen more consistency in play. We've got a clear idea, a clear plan of play, if you will, which is what we've been craving for, and that will only be made more consistent as the time goes on, as the players get those automatisms, those as I call them, ingrained in the system. They do that without thinking. That's only going to get better. I think that this is a team that will dominate, as it is, will dominate, especially teams that are open play. We saw it against Barcelona. We saw it against Man U, especially. Dominate in possession against Brentford. I think we're going to dominate possession anyway because we're going to have the ball. But against low block I think we're going to suffer. That's where we're going to suffer because teams that are possession heavy or possession based, and that's where I go. Where I make reference to my beloved Barcelona, they are possession heavy. That is low block is where possession heavy teams suffer, because you have to work a hell of a lot to get one or two openings in a game. And this is not an exemption with Spurs, or sorry, not exemption, exception with Spurs. So it's going to be tough with low block, but um, teams like Man United, teams like Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I think they're going to be teams that on paper may scare people, because they're the transatlantics. They're teams that have been doing it, for a long time, that have always been up there. But I think that they shouldn't really be as scary as people think. So that I think that's where we are. We've progressed a hell of a lot in such a short space of time.
Yeah. So because what I was saying earlier, when people could hear me,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was saying that in the last month and before we played our friendlies, I mean,
Yeah.
you and I have talked. So you and I have talked. But what I was saying was that as soon as we hired Postecoglou, I turned around
Mm-hmm.
and said we're going to be in for a ride. He's going to play progressive front foot football. Um, it won't be doom and gloom. People need to figure us out and work us out. For 4 years they've been able to do so. Now it's something totally different. We're going to go for possession. We're going to be totally different, and I think people are in for a ride. So nothing has changed in my point of view. Only that he's come in, trained with the players. So he started on the 1st of July or whatever. Then he's trained with the players. Then we've had the pre-season that we've had, which was only them 3.5, 4 games, however you want to view it. And then from there, we got an inkling of what we're going to see. They were friendlies though, but we got an inkling of what we're going to see. We've now played Brentford. We like what we saw in the first game. It was a tough game.
Yeah.
Um, we were on the front foot in that game, albeit that I do think that we played against a team that had a far superior pre-season than us.
True.
Um, and I think Man United have had a far more superior pre-season than us as well. However,
Mm-hmm.
we've then played Man United and we've beaten Man United. In the second half, it ended up being quite easy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got more of that to come now. I see
Mm-hmm.
Bobby saying because I'm looking. I was looking at the fixture list, right, and Bobby saying get some players in. Um, and that schedule looks a lot easier. And now he's just said, "Sorry lads, time to get little K show ready. When you're done, see you all later. Have a great day. Thank you very much, Bobby K. You take care. God bless you, mate."
Big up, man. Take care of your family.
So I'm looking at Burnley. So our next game is against Bournemouth on the 26th. I know it's
Yeah.
early to say, but I'm just looking here because
Mm-hmm.
it kind of makes me smile and laugh at the same time. So I've gone into the game itself, and I don't know whether you can see it's saying win probability at Bournemouth. It's saying 49% Tottenham, 26 Bournemouth, and 25% the draw.
Yeah.
Right, but then if I go into, right, I'm going to skip Fulham for a minute, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll go into our next game after that, which is Burnley away in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go into that, the probability is all the same.
It's all,
So
it's all the same.
yeah, look, it's
Wow.
49 Tottenham, 26 Burnley, 25% to draw. So I think at the moment, this website is set up for the away games until more games are played. The next two games are just the same probability.
I
It's
think,
amazing.
yeah, in all honesty, that's my website because it just plays into exactly what I said. Consistency. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
No, it must be Duff or something. I don't know. I think Bournemouth is going to be a little bit more trickier than Burnley, because of the manager they've got, and because of the way they play football. The same with Burnley, but I don't know. I don't know. I think, I don't know who asked me the other day, um, what uh, what my prediction was for the next 9 points. Um, Albeit I think it was Bournemouth, Burnley, and Sheffield United.
that's right. That's the next
Uh,
three games, correct? Yeah.
yeah, and I said 7 points out of 9, which isn't bad. Of course, everybody wants to win, but you're going to have a hiccup on the way. I said 7 points out of 9 because I don't trust Bournemouth. Um, and I think that's away, isn't it? Bournemouth is away.
The
Um,
next two games, the next two league games are away. They're
yeah,
Bournemouth and Burnley away, and then we have Sheffield United at home, all
yeah,
before the North London derby on the 24th of September. So we've got
right. But then
three games before the North London derby.
we've got Fulham in the cup
Yeah,
in between them, in
yeah. In
between
between game week 3 and game week 4, we have Fulham sandwich next Tuesday.
between Bournemouth and Burnley. Is
Correct.
it? Is that correct? Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So the league games, I think that, yeah, 7 points out of 9, which isn't bad. Because I think we go to Burnley and we beat them. I think so, because Fulham beat them 3-0. Um,
No,
and
Man City beat Burnley.
Man City beat Burnley.
It's the only game they've
Um,
played because their Luton game was cancelled this week, weren't it?
oh, was it? Okay, okay.
Yeah, they didn't
Um,
play.
yeah, yeah, I get mixed up. And So I think we can do a job on them. I think we can do a job, obviously, at home against Sheffield United. I don't think there's going to be any hiccup there. So Bournemouth, I just put a little question mark there because of the manager they've got. I do respect him highly, Andoni Iraola. His job at Rayo Vallecano last year. I think we've just got to respect him a little bit more. And it's not going to be, yeah, we're going to get 3 points and that's it. I think we've just got to respect them a tad bit more than maybe we put 5 past them. I don't know, but my little question mark. So I'm going to go with 7 points out of 9, and we'll do a job on Fulham as well. So, but yeah, I think we've um, we've improved and made quite a lot, in such a short space of time, and the atmosphere. People talking about the atmosphere oh, so I'm hosting. Brilliant, because Jose's frozen, and I've always wanted my own show, so this is good. Let's hope that Jose can come back and do his stuff. But yeah.
I'm back.
Oh, here
I'm back. Sorry.
he's all right. He's paid his bill. He's paid his bill, so he's back. Yeah.
Shit.
I oh, he's gone again, and he's swearing, and he's blinding. He's effing, he's blinding, and he's back, and he's falling off his chair. Oh dear. This is what Spurs does to you people. Where's he gone? Oh, anyway. So yeah, if you haven't already, because I'm sorry, as I'm on my phone, I can't see the comments. What about your predictions for the next 3 home games? I'm sure we'll do something in between then. But for the next 3 home games, sorry, for the next league games, Bournemouth and Burnley
You
away,
there, Chris?
and then yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, so Bournemouth and Burnley away, and then Sheffield United at home. And then what about the Fulham Cup match as well? Why don't you leave out your predictions and your feelings on those games? Leave them in the comments so that we can comment on them. What about that? What do you think, lads in the chat? That would be nice to hear from you. So yeah. Sorry, Jose, I was just filling in for you while you were.
Yeah, I just said hello, Chris, because I could see you, but I couldn't see myself.
Well, no, because you fell off the chair.
Yeah, no, I was picking up my pen.
Oh, picking up your pennies from work.
Yeah. Right. So
Oh, dear.
right, I was. So to me, you're saying 7 points out of 9.
Yeah, conservative, but yeah, I think yeah, not bad.
Okay. And the way that I broke it down earlier was I
Hmm.
watched Bournemouth's first 2 games.
Sure.
Uh, Alex Scott, who they bought, wasn't in the squad. They've just bought
Wow.
Tyler. They've just bought Tyler Adams, but they've bought him with injury, so he won't be playing either.
Okay.
Right. And that is it. Philip Billing, the tall player they used to have playing in midfield.
Bournemouth. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, he's Bournemouth. Yeah. What about
yeah.
him?
He didn't play the first 2 games of the season. Now I don't know whether he's been sold or whether he's injured. So when I
I,
watched the Bournemouth team play the
mm,
first 2 games, I thought to myself, do you know what? If we pick up the methods that Angie's instilling into his players and the patterns
mm.
of play, another week on the training pitches,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
before
yeah.
we play Bournemouth, I don't see why we can't go to Bournemouth and pick up
No,
3 points. Right.
I understand. I understand. Yeah.
With the Burnley game, I had Burnley as staying up this year. I didn't have them in my bottom 3, right?
Right.
Because I watched them play last season. Company likes to play football,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
defensive. He likes to play football.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the team that I saw for Burnley last year, when I watched their game against Man City and I saw the lineups, I
Mm.
didn't recognise players that were in his team. Now I know that they had a load of low knees last year.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
Now
Yeah.
I don't know whether they didn't make these permanent or whether
Mm.
they're injured, right? But the team that I saw Burnley put out and the substitutes tended me to think, hold on, Burnley may struggle more than what I thought, right?
Mm. Mm.
Because I know the goalkeeper played that they bought from Man City, that Trafford, that he played. but they had a captain last year, Taylor Harwood Bells, who's an England under-21 international, and
Okay.
he was on loan from Man City. But
Hmm.
Teller was on loan from Southampton, who got them loads of goals last year.
Oh, Teller,
Now
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's gone back to Southampton. So I'm just looking at these players and thinking to myself, they're all missing from the team sheet that I saw, and so I thought to myself,
Mm.
do you know what? I think they may struggle more than what I thought they would do.
Yeah.
But then that tends me to think that because they play open football, then there shouldn't be no reason why we can't go to Burnley on a
Mm.
Saturday. It ain't no cold Tuesday evening, wet evening. It'll be a
In
Saturday.
Stoke.
It'll
It's not in Stoke.
be
Yeah.
and and get a result. And then as for Sheffield United have only lost by the odd goal in their first two games. And out
Hmm.
of the three teams that have come up, Sheffield United look better defensively than Luton and Burnley do, but they're not potent up front. They can't score. And so at the end of the day, if you keep this clean sheet and you score one more goal than the opposition, you win the game.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I think that Tottenham should be able to have Sheffield United's number at home. So for me, my
Mm.
thinking was I'd be happy with 7 points, was what I said earlier, but I can see us taking nine.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no reason why we can't. But I just think that we've got to be careful with Idola. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the question mark I have, because there were parts of Liverpool Bournemouth before they went down to 10 that I kind of enjoyed. And I thought, okay, yeah, it's only his second match in the EPL, and they can only get better, because they're not going to lose every match. They're not going to draw every match. They got a gel, and as you're saying, Alex Scott wasn't there. Tyler Adams isn't there. I didn't know. I didn't actually know that they had bought him. But that's a good signing for them. That's only going to improve their midfield, because I think he's pretty decent. Um, he's got
24 million,
experience.
Chris, they paid for him. Yes, I think they bought him yesterday, 24 mil.
24 mil. So wow.
Yeah.
Let's see how long he's out for as well. Hopefully not a long time, because I mean, Billing, he's been there for quite a while at Bournemouth in the midfield, and he's not a bad player. With Tyler Adams and Alex Scott, I mean, that's pretty decent midfield. So that whenever that starts working, their magic, I mean, that could be an interesting midfield for Bournemouth. Um, so yeah, let's hope it's not against us. But I mean, that's going to be quite interesting to see how that works, when that gets work, get gelled. Um, but yeah, I think 7 out of 9, just to be on the safe side, because yeah, we're all buzzing now, but
So
you can get a
if we get past Bournemouth, Chris, right, and get
yeah.
3 points, does that mean that you're then 9 points? You're on for 9 points, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. If we
all
get
right,
if we get 3 points out of Bournemouth, there's no reason why you can't get three out of Burnley and three out of Sheffield United. Yeah,
fair enough.
no, no,
Right,
definitely, yeah,
and
yeah,
the,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the other comment I made earlier was
Sure.
in between game three and game four, like you've alluded to, we have a
Yeah.
cup game versus Fulham.
Hmm.
And my thoughts were that I believe, well, for I don't know, the last 10 years or whatever, we
Mm.
haven't really put efforts into cups and we've sent out substandard teams and we've not really tried to go and win these competitions. And it'll be interesting because Postecoglou has said he wants to win everything. He's there to
Mm.
win football matches. So
Mm.
for me, I'd be interested in the side that he puts out against Fulham, bearing in
Mm.
mind that the transfer window closes 3 days later, right? So we play
Right.
on a Tuesday night, it's a match, and the transfer window doesn't close till the Friday. And
Mm.
then also as well, watching Fulham, like they've had the turmoil with Mitrovic and all stuff like that going
Yeah.
on.
Mhm.
Um, Fulham don't look in the first two games that I've seen them play, they don't look the same outfit they did last season. And I think
Right.
Fulham could end up being a bit further down the table than what they were last season. So with that in mind, I think it would also be interesting who Silva puts out and whether he puts all his eggs in one basket for the Premier League at the moment or whether he does want to go for a cut run. So I think it's a bit of both. It depends. I'd like to see what teams Fulham and Spurs put out.
Mhm. I think we'll do a number on Fulham. I don't see them as a rival. To be honest, in that cup, but cups are cups, and you could go out, you can go out in the first game, because that's the beauty of cups. But I don't actually see. a rival today. I don't see a rival for Spurs in the matches that we have up until the Arsenal game. I don't see a rival.
I mean, between now and the games that we're all talking about, Chris, I'm sure that will be on prior to the games and whatever that are on. But so this is like really an early talk that we're having at the moment.
Sure.
Um, so what's your prediction? So you think Tottenham will win? Is there any scoreline you've got in mind
Um,
without knowing the lineups?
um, right. So Bournemouth.
No, I'm talking about yeah. Go on,
Oh, oh,
because
oh,
Tot Spurs is shared already. Look,
yeah. I saw 1-3 and 0 and 2-0 away. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I think that was pretty accurate. I could go with that. I could go with that. I mean, I think against Burnley, because they're quite an open team, I don't think they're going to pose that much of a threat. I think we could go for a few more, maybe one or two more against Burnley. Um, it doesn't mean that because the scoreline is more than the Man City game, we're better or worse than Man City. It just means that the game is different and the circumstances are different. But the way that we control the ball and we don't give it away, and you know, I think that we could put maybe one or two more away, perhaps. But then on a stupid corner or something silly like that, we could concede. But that's just the beauty of football again.
yeah.
But I think that these score lines that Totspur's putting out, and thanks for the comment. Um, yeah, I think they're pretty decent. Yeah, I could go with that. Yeah.
Okay, what's your Fulham prediction then? Score without knowing the lineups.
Without knowing the lineups, I'm going to go 2-4.
And Tot Spurs has gone for.
Okay, 1-2. You're half the
Uh,
man I am.
and Tot Spurs has also for you.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. Okay. Lovely stuff. Have a
So
good time. Have a good time.
so with that being said, it's going to be this is brilliant because I'm repeating what I've said already. The show
Sure.
again, but it's only because
Okay.
you're here. Right. What do we think about the ins and outs, Chris? What's your theories and what do you
So
think?
far,
Well, no, what do you think about the ins and outs, though? I think I'm more or less. I haven't talked about so far. I've talked about what we've really got to do with the next 10 days. Is
oh,
probably where I went down that route.
right. Let's see if we coincide. But I think that we really need to get the outs out and do a Mickey Flanagan. Are you out? Because we really need to get the outs out. Um, and I think we need another striker. I'm sorry, Richie doesn't cut it for me yet, and it's not. I'm not lambasting him. I'm not putting him out there so we can throw tomatoes at him in the town square. I just think we need more output from him, and it's all right. The dirty work that he does, the fighting, the tussling, and the space creating that he does for others. That's fine. That's all good. But I need something more from. I need to see something more. I need more output. So I think that we need another striker. Um, I would like to see more on the right wing. I think Decky doesn't cut it for me, um, and I think that definitely a centre back. Um, and a six. But if we can get Peshurs in from Torino, if that does go ahead, you've got two in one because he can do both. So that for me will be fine. And you can liberate Bosuma from being the six
I like the way you
because
said Bossuma.
well there you go, he's just boss, isn't he?
Yeah, it's Bossuma. That's
Um,
right.
he's just been absolutely phenomenal in these two games. And that's what you can do when you have the philosophical arm around players, and you give them the freedom and the encouragement and the knowledge that they are better than what they are, and just go out and play, man. Just try it. Just try and do something different, you know.
Mm.
And don't be handbraked, you know. Don't be rigid in trying to do things and go forward. And yeah, you've got to. play within the constraints of what the idea is, the notion of play, but don't be afraid of trying something a little different, because if not, if you're doing everything mechanically, like if he goes left and you go right and I go down the middle and blah blah blah, well then that's just not football, is it? That's just being silly. But I think that Ange has given them the freedom to be creative and not be afraid of being footballers again.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a big difference, which is brilliant, and it gives us satisfaction as well because we enjoy it. But those are the positions that I would change, or I would, you know, because I'm not
So
totally convinced.
uh, okay, so I'll say to you, Chris, we currently have a squad of 31 players.
I
Right,
know, yeah.
20 non-homegrown, 11 homegrown. The
Wow.
maximum non-homegrown is 17. Right.
Mm,
So basically, just to be on an even par for the 2nd of September, because we don't have to announce the league squad till Saturday, the 2nd of September, the day after the transfer window closes. And that's when you
right.
need to submit your final 25 for the squad for the season.
Okay.
So, six, at the moment, the way we stand, 6 of them players cannot be in that squad. Under 21s don't count. So, under 21s, you can have as many of them in your squad as you want. But when you're naming 25, it has to be 17 non homegrown. I did say earlier, and I repeat it again for the people that might be joining now, is that I said that the Premier League has gone the same way. Sorry, in the Premier League, most of the clubs in the Premier League have 17 non-homegrown players because
Mm-hmm.
this we most of our footballers are imported from other countries, which is
Mm,
unlike some other leagues. Some other top leagues in Europe have far more homegrown within their squads than what
mm-hmm.
we do in the EPL. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, right, if you can only have so if you've got 25 in your squad, that's all you can have. You need 6 that have got to be out of the way. If you're looking to trade ins and outs, right, like for likes, then you can only have 17 maximum as non-homegrown. So if you
Mm-hmm.
get rid of a non-homegrown, if you had 25 in the squad, you're now getting rid of a non-homegrown. You can either bring a non-homegrown in or bring
Mm-hmm.
another homegrown in, but you can't go over that 17 mark.
Mm.
What surprises me at the moment is that we haven't. Well, it doesn't surprise me, Chris. Is that we've not been able to sell our players for the last 2, 3, 4 seasons. So therefore, I believe that if you're going to get rid of players, you're going to you're gonna have to accept whatever comes your way, whatever bids are sent your way, so you can just get them out of the wind, out of your club and
Yeah,
that.
of course. Yeah.
Now, we're being linked with Gift Orban, right?
Mm.
And from yesterday, we've been linked with another 19-year-old Ghanese player from Ghana. His name escapes me. But if you buy them type,
Ernest. Yeah, it's Ernest Enua.
that's the one. That's
No,
the
he's
one.
gone to Lyon.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So let's say Gift Orban. If you're gonna go and get Gift Orban, it doesn't really matter because Gift Orban's an under 21, so he won't affect your non-homegrown or your homegrown, not this season anyway. So
Mm.
bearing that in mind, right, how many players do you think we need to get rid of? Because we can't just go buying players unless we get rid of players because our squad can only be 25. And do you see contracts being ripped up, as was alluded to by Charlie Eccleshare or someone or David Ornstein a couple of months ago?
I mean, I don't, I don't know. Contracts being ripped up. I don't see it because I mean I don't really have a big answer for that because um, I don't know how to answer it. Um, I think on the and this is only my take because I'm not actually really up to scratch on that, Jose. I'm sorry about that, but
Okay, that's all right.
I think I think that the fact that you don't accept 8 or 9 million or 10 million, whatever macaronis for um, and Dombele when you could, or from Turkey, and whether he wants to go or not, well, okay, fine, but um, you don't accept it because it's too low, man. You've been lacklustered with this guy for so many years, right? And you don't accept it because you want 20. For God's sake, yeah, just get him out. Whether you like him or not is beside the point. It's a hindrance to your growth in the team, right? And that's the same as other players as well. You want to make room to grow your project, right? So you want to plant more trees, but you've got a huge oak in your front room. You get the huge oak out so you can plant little trees, right? But you're not cutting the huge oak in you because it's costing you too much. Jesus, man, get it out, cost what it costs, and you can start growing. Yeah, because one is costing you too much, but then the little ones that come along, you can sell them in the future, and you can make that money back and still make some more. I just don't understand. Like you revalue them. Like it's revalorization. I just don't understand how this club works sometimes. Um, so do I see the contracts being ripped up? Anything's possible. I don't understand why offers aren't being accepted because they seem too low. But isn't that what Levy does? Low balls when he goes in to buy a player. So it's very, very cynical. Um, but yeah, I mean, we do have to get players out. I mean, I'm not sure if I've answered the question to its entirety, but that's the way I feel about it. I mean,
Do you think we're getting offers for players, Chris? Because I don't think we're getting offers for players. I think it's all talk and rumours at the moment. I haven't seen concrete offers come in.
I don't know. I'm not in the club. I don't know. But if the talk that I've seen, um, the only player that we've had offers from is for Ndombele. But they're too low because he's too good and too expensive. I mean, what? You, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, 8 million, whatever they are, 8 million euros or whatever, 12 million euros is not a lot, but you've got to accept it because if not, you're stuck with him and you're stuck with 200 grand a week.
Yeah.
So
So
let him go.
the rumours today, Chris, is that
Yeah,
he has turned down Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest wanted him, and he's turned down Nottingham
oh,
Forest,
I haven't seen that. Okay, so he's
and
turned
that
that down.
he's turned down Nottingham Forest, and Ren are looking at
Yeah,
him.
Ren.
Ren are now
Ah,
looking at
yes.
him.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday because he could link up with is it Remy Gard, his old is it Remy Gard, his old or is it Rudy no Remy Gard, his old manager that he had at Lyon
Leon,
when he
okay.
started.
Oh, I don't know
Yeah,
who's the
yeah,
manager for Leon, but there's rumours saying and
yeah,
again these
Ren.
are rumours that he's turned down Forest. He said he didn't believe in their project, right? And that Ren and a Turkish club or a couple of Turkish clubs are looking at him,
Yeah.
but there's been no bids. I don't believe there's been any bids. I know that people are saying there's bids being prepared, but I don't know that there's been any bids. Now, the only player that I know that there's been a bid for and it was accepted was for Davinson Sanchez from the Russian club, and that was accepted. But obviously that hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen
He doesn't
because
want to go. Yeah.
but Tottenham did a U-turn on it afterwards and then thought to themselves, hold on, how can we be dealing with Russian clubs anyway? So, but to me, it's how many players do you think we need to get out of the club? Because if we've got to have a squad of 25 and we've got a squad of 31 at the moment, and Lloris apparently right, let me. Lloris apparently the talks are back on with Lazio.
Lazio, yeah,
Tanganga was being linked with Inter Milan if they didn't go for Pavard, but they're now looking to get the Pavard's looking to
yeah,
sign for
yeah,
28.2 million. So
yeah.
that now leaves Tanganga with Luton and Everton who are interested in Tanganga. Right?
Okay.
Dyer, it's Fulham that are interested in Dyer. So these are no
With yeah,
Fulham are interested in Dyer. Lo Celso, apparently Barcelona, you'd know more than me, but they're saying that there's links with Barcelona again for Lo Celso. Yeah, as I said, you know a lot more than me on that. Um, who's the other ones that has been linked with? Um,
Reguilon, Real Sociedad.
Reguilon to Sociedad. Yep, that's another one. Sanchez as well is in Monaco.
Right.
Um, and then you've got who else you got? Then you've got youngsters like decisions are going to be made this week on Scarlett, Harvey White, Divine, and these players. I don't know whether they all. Harvey White is definitely homegrown. He's not under 21 anymore, and I don't know whether Scarlett. I think Scarlett and Divine still fall as under 21s because they just play for the under 21s in the Nations League. Oh no, the under 20s in the World Cup they've just played, so they must be under 21. So they don't really matter to the 31 whether they go out or
Right.
not.
Okay.
Troy Parrott,
Yeah.
I think, is over. Troy Parrott, I think, is over 21, so he would
But
be on that squad of 31.
yeah, but he doesn't convince me. Um, I'd keep Scarlett, to be honest, but then it all depends on numbers, right? So if he doesn't fall into that and he's okay, I'd keep Scarlett. I wouldn't send him out. Um, but I need to be more ruthless and we get a Deadwood out. Yeah, yeah. I mean, sure, sure. Yeah, but we need one thing is saying it, and another thing is doing it. Top Spurs. It's not as easy, and I reckon it's going to go down to the wire to the last few days because the clubs that may be interested in us, in our players, they're going to wait and they're going to lowball and going to say, right, well, if you don't accept 5 million, yeah, well then you're stuck with the huge wages and a player that you don't want, and you can't get other players in. You see what I mean? So either like it or lump it, and they're going to play that tactic, um, which is strangling us because we can't do anything unless we get them out. So it's in our interest to get them out so we can get others in. Um, but it's only detrimental if we don't get them out. Now it's just silly. It's just look, take a loss, take a hit, rip up a few, sell, and take a big loss on whatever, get them out so we can move forward. It just makes sense instead of fannying about. You're going to take a loss anyway, so why not do it now instead of waiting 2 weeks? It's just silly. You're not going to get Bayern Munich again coming in for Davinson Sanchez, are you? So you may as well just send him to Monaco for 10 million, isn't it? It's just, I don't know, but I just think that sometimes this club they want 5 bars of gold instead of a packet of sugar. I think it's just really silly. But Doris said he's seeing out his contract and leaving on a free at the end of the season.
I think
What?
Dyer said that. To be honest, Dyer said that a few weeks ago. However, you've not watched my stream, have you? So you not watched what I said earlier, have you?
Who, me? No,
Yeah. Okay. Well,
no, because I came in.
you've more or less said what I was saying earlier. So
Oh, really?
yeah, you
Good
more or
minds
less
think
said
alike then.
right. You more or less said what I said earlier. So with the Dyer thing, I said Dyer, and I said this because I remember saying this to you at the time after the Barcelona game.
Mm,
I said on your show, I believe Dyer has just nailed himself to the coffin with that performance and what he did tonight against Barcelona. And I've
mm,
said it to you because
yeah,
he stood there. He was so slow and trying to get the ball out. He was doing a lot of pointing while the ball was at his feet, but not moving the ball around. So he's not doing what Ange wanted, and I think that probably done for him then. Obviously, now he's not played in the first two squads. I think I've said all along, even with the Harry Kane situation and with everything that's been going on at the club, I said decisions have been made, just that we're not privy to them decisions. So
mm,
we've now found out that, yeah, Kane said straight away to Levy and to Ange he wants to leave. If the offer
yeah,
comes in, he wants to go. He's not at
yeah,
Tottenham this season. So we're all saying, is he coming, going? And I said all along, decisions have been made, just when we're not privy. I
yeah.
think
Oh no, you have to put 50p in the meter again. Oh, right. Time for me to take over again. Um, right. Do people really think that Dyer is going to see out his contract? Let us know in the comments. Um, it is difficult. I mean, I understand Dyer. He's been at the club for so many years, and I'm sure that he feels a connection to the club. Has he done enough to warrant deciding on his own future or not? But let us know. Um, yeah. You agreed, just annoyed at how Levy thinks he's going to get money for this dross. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree, mate. Yeah, sure, sure. There's a lot of takes that we can, that we can all have, but as Jose was saying, we're just probably not privy to the ins and outs, and we probably never are. Even if the media comes out or people that are connected to more to the club may give their own take on stuff, but um, we can go on instinct and that, but will Dyer see out his contract as he says, as he wants, or not? Maybe, I don't know. We lost you for a minute there, Jose. We put 50p in the meter for you. Are we still out there? We're gonna have to put £2 in. Um, yeah, I know it's. I understand that the club. Oh, okay, going solo again. I understand that the club wants to get more, more money, more value for their dollar, as any club does. But sometimes you're in a situation where logic must prevail, and when you can only go so far, and clubs are not really offering for your players because they haven't been revalued, like they haven't maintained their value, so to speak. Um, you really can't push the boat out that far. So if, for example, Davinson Sanchez is worth 10 million and he's not worth 15, well, don't start asking for 50. You just take the 10, keep the money safe, and don't push the boat. The same with Dyer. I mean, with any player really, you're going to take a hit. Why? Because we haven't done that. We haven't acted as a proper club. We haven't known how to reinvest. We haven't learned how to um, maintain the value of our assets. I mean, you look at Chelsea, and I know that a lot of people don't like Chelsea, but you have to admire how they've. I'm not sure if it's over 200 million pounds on assets that they don't need. And correct me if I'm wrong, but um, we'd all be extremely happy. I'm sure that if we were able to do that with the players that we deemed surplus to requirements. Am I correct or not? Um, but we're not going to see that. I mean, we're not even going to see probably 25% of that, um, let alone 20%. I think I think that now is we're at a crossroads and we have to decide properly. Um, And if you have to take five, take five. I mean, it's better than taking zero. Let these people go on, let them play their careers, let space for new players to come in and grow from there. Um, and that's my take. I'm not sure if you want to drop some more comments in. I'm sorry I can't see them. Let's hope that Jose comes back as uh, as swiftly as possible, so he can take the reins of his own bloody show. Because I'm here and I'm not earning anything for this. I'm working for free, but yeah, I'm glad to help. I'm just joking. Um, I just think that, for example, and let's just say, for example, um, Basuma, he's brilliant. He's young, um, and he has a brilliant season. Now, you imagine top club comes in and puts 80 million on the table for him because he revalues himself, right? Would you not take it and go out and, I don't know, play Saar there? Or would you not take it to reinvest in the squad? I would, regardless. I mean, sorry, despite being such a brilliant player. Um, Decky, I don't know, turns it around, has a brilliant season. Someone comes in, offers another 80 million. Would you not take it for him? Despite what you think of him now, um, would you not take it for him? Well, he's just revalued. He's just gone up in value because he's had a brilliant season. Well, I think that is exactly why Ange is here, um, to gain the most value out of our squad, to get as high up in the table as possible, and to earn as much money for the club as possible, whilst we entertain, whilst we can reinvest in the squad and be successful. In the end, that's what a football club does, isn't it? To be successful, to be financially successful. And I'm not talking about building hotels and buying real estate, and you know, I'm talking about be successful on the football side of things, which is what a lot of clubs do. They they buy wisely. They Their value goes up. You can sell them, so you can buy more, or another one, another player from the youth system, or someone that belongs to the squad can eventually take their place, revalues and is sold again. I mean, it's basically rinse and repeat, but in a good way. Glad to have you back. Thanks for joining us.
I'll tell you what, I need to work out what's wrong with my internet because this is just ridiculous. It's not just
Pay.
today. It seems to be quite often it happens, and I just don't know because it's not as if I've got a really crappy internet. The thing is, it seems to go down on YouTube and StreamYard, but it doesn't go down anywhere else. So anything else that I use, it doesn't go down. It seems to go down when I'm on these things. So
Yeah,
I need to work it
yeah.
out. But
You
thank you
pay
for
bill.
covering. Thank you for
No,
covering, Chris.
I'm good defender. Although I used to play up front, but that's fine. I'm good defender.
I don't know
Um,
where did I get lost because you said Jose was saying, and I can't remember Jose Alvarez.
um, I don't know. I was basically lying, but yeah, no problem. We've all
Oh,
run out of 50p coins.
no. What it was, I was saying that all along I've said that decisions have been made, and I think that he's come in, he's had them for the first 2 weeks at Hotspur Way since he came in on the 1st of July. He's been training with them. I think
Mm.
we all know it happens. I reckon he's been and viewed players before the 1st of July as well. He knows about players. He's come in, he's made his decisions, but then they've gone out to the far east and wherever Australia and wherever
Yeah,
to play
Asia. Yeah,
friendlies. Right, so they go Asia. They've gone out to play their games, and
mm,
if we believe the rumor mills again, Chris,
sure.
Reguilon and Ndombele were getting reprieve. Right,
Mm.
rumors have it that Ndombele was going to play the first game but got injured or whatever, and thereafter
Oh yeah,
it changed the lineup. Lo Celso's had a few run outs. Lo Celso's now in the pecking order. Ndombele's fallen off the cliff.
sounds sad.
Reguilon has played quite a few preseason, quite a few times in preseason, but obviously he's been left out of the squads, which is a clear indication, I believe, that he's one of the players that he wants out. So at the end of the day, Ange knows what he wants and what he doesn't want to do. In my eyes, he's made his decisions. Did you see his interview after the game against Man United when he turned around? He said, "No,
Mm.
transfers, players ins and outs, and transfers will be my decisions because it's no one can see football through my eyes."
No, I didn't, but I totally get that, and I think that should be the way. Especially on a 4-year contract. And I know that football has changed and it's not through the manager anymore. And, because you've got a style of football and the director of football is the one that supposedly is the one that you sign to create or enhance the way that the club should be playing. If you've got a plan, and he's the one that should be getting the manager in, and from there they're the one that should be signing the players. But he's totally right. I mean, he's the one that should be getting the players in because he's is the one that is going to use those tools to play his way. Um, and as I was saying, whilst you were on off on a brief, you were having a cup of tea. Just quickly there, um, it's the you plant your seed for. Have you gone again? Oh no, you are. You yeah, sorry. That's your cup of tea with a J on it. Yeah. It's the like for example, I just said right. Well, if because you revalue, I don't know if that's the right word, but you they up their value, they increase their value. Like say for example, if Basuma has a brilliant year this year, right, and someone comes in at the end of the season offers 80 million, right? Would you not take it? Well, that's exactly how a football club works, right? And what we haven't been able to do is um, maintain the value of our assets because we've maintained them too long and they've just totally fallen off a cliff because they've just become um, they've just become useless. They've just become, you know, I don't know what the word is anymore. They've just become without a price. They've just become useless to people, and now we can't get rid of them, and now we're probably going to have to pay them off to leave. Whilst if you have an offer of 80 million for Basuma, you take it, right? And despite the brilliant season that he's probably going to have, um, you take the 80 million to reinvest in another player, another two players, another three players, and that's the way football clubs work. And I'm sure that despite the Chelsea rivalry, but you'd actually love to do exactly the same as what they do because they've just invested. They've just had 220 or 250 or I don't know how much 200 or million coming into their bank, into their coffers, because they've done exactly what a club should do. You see,
Mm.
and that is a good model to follow, or your Man Cities or whatever. But just take Chelsea as an example, because they've known how to buy, they've known how to maintain the price of an asset, and they've known how to sell it properly. Yeah, they may have taken a 5 or 10 million or 50 million hit, but they've still maintained the value of that asset by not waiting 10 years to sell like Dyer or So I think that they've done exceptionally well, and we've done exceptionally bad, and that's where you need to improve definitely. And I think that we're on the right track, even if we have to lose a few players at the end of the season, because we could get 200 million off 4 players, for example. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just football. So, I mean, let's just hope it goes that way and we can progress in a positive manner. But I
Mm.
don't know. I digress. I don't know.
Yeah. So for me, as I said, we need to. I think the next 10 days are really important. I'm repeating what I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
earlier. To me, to
No,
me,
that's fine.
to me. Here we go. Sorry, you have. But Chris, wouldn't that make a selling club again? I think there has to be a balance.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, but it is that notion is a selling club. But if you make a player's value that big, right? That good, that he's that big of a price tag, you can reinvest. So there is that balance that you're talking about, Totspurs. So yeah, you're a buying club, but you're also a selling club. So that's really what you have to be. You have to be a buying and a selling club. So if you talk about Barcelona, for example, that I've got a lot of information about, we're predominantly a buying club because we can't sell anyone. Yeah, we sold Neymar for 222, but it's only because those mad people over the road over in Paris wanted to. But we haven't sold anyone for the price that we've bought, that they were bought for, bar Neymar. So you're predominantly a selling club, sorry, a buying club, and not a selling club. But yes, you're totally right, because you have to be a balanced club. You see, that's the whole point in it. But what are we now? We're a Deadwood club, so we don't want to be that. Deadwood is the same. Well, there you go. I've just said it. Deadwood is the same. Well, okay, yeah.
So for me, I think these 10 days coming up now
Mm.
are vital to us to shape us for the rest of the season. Um, Rome wasn't built in a day, however, and I'm aware of that. But I'm what you'd call a greedy
So and
bee,
so.
a greedy bee, right? So where people said you can't get rid of X, Y, Z, and I think that people were saying you can't get rid of Tanganga, Rodon, Dyer, and Sanchez. At the time, it was the same as them four. You can't get rid of them because you never be able to bring them back in. Well, for me, I know it's a 4 year deal that Andrew's
Yeah.
got, but
Mm.
if we can do the majority of our shifting, both
Yeah.
in and out, in this
Mm.
transfer window,
Yeah.
then that shapes us for the way forward and the beginning and where
Mm.
we want to go to. And then if we do bits and pieces in the winter window, which we don't normally do, but if you do bits and pieces in the winter window, one or two things you can do, but then you start doing again and progressing more again next summer, then
Yeah.
I don't see no reason why you can't move a hell of a lot of the crap that we've got.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I mean,
Now, get
I
rid of it
agree.
now and bring the players that are going to shape you going forward. Bring them in now. If you can do it now, do it now, is what my
Mm.
view is.
And if you can't, at least line them up for either the winter window or next season, because the season will go fast, will go quickly if we're playing good football, and if not, like the last 4 or 5 years that we've had total nightmare, it's going to go really really slowly. But now with this good football, with this exciting football, everyone's buzzing, everyone's smiling, everyone's hugging each other. It's going to go really, really quickly, and you won't even realise that it's next summer, and we've got the Euros at the end of the season, and we're going to see players that no one's ever heard of wearing a white shirt, and you're thinking, "Blimey, he's good." So we're going to get there pretty quickly. So good times are rolling. Got to make. I think it's more listening to the coach, whether Levy hates to. If he sees a decline, better to bring in and listen to the coach. I, I I'd like to think. I'd like to think that Ange has worked his charm even on Levy. I know that's difficult, but I think even Ange has, I mean, if he's united 60,000 on a match day, right, and supporters all over the world, that even I feel the buzz. I feel, you
And
know,
Levy would have been at the game as well, Chris.
yeah, sure. Uh, I think that if he can unite that, rekindle that lost ambiance, that atmosphere at the club, on the game day, and us, well, I'm afar, and and those far and wide. I think that in an office setting, in a meeting, setting, I think that the sense that he talks, I think he probably hasn't heard it from anyone in a long time, and I think that even Levy's probably creaming his pants, um, in a positive way. And I don't mean to be rude about it, or gross, but I think that he can be seduced by Ange and what he can bring to the whole Spurs setting. So to listen to him is probably a good thing, instead of being big headed and it's my way or the highway sort of thing.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, I don't know, but maybe even Ange can't change him. But
See, yeah, but like I said before, I think that he's with Ange from day one. It's coming, and even before the 1st of July when he came in, I think he's already courted at the club. He's got to meet everybody. He's had a chat with everyone, the backroom staff, from the person who opens the gates to the chefs to everybody there. He's uniting everyone from in the back that you can't see at the front. He's uniting everyone there. He's uniting the players. He's uniting the squad,
yeah,
and
exactly.
I think he's uniting the board as well. And therefore, and there's rumours coming out that they've got a nice little working triangle because they can't say
Yeah,
quadrangle. They can only say triangle. So
yeah,
they're
because
saying
Paratici.
yeah, because the Paratici, they can't say there's a quadrangle, it's a triangle there, and they're all
Yeah,
saying that
Gabbanini.
Gabbanini,
Yeah,
sorry, Levy and Postacoglu.
Ange. Yeah, yeah.
It's really a quadrangle. We all know, unless you're the thickest idiot in the world, it's a quadrangle for definite. Um,
Yeah, I
so
mean, I-
that if we're going to believe rumors, if I'm going to believe this rumor, Chris, then it's saying that they are listening to Ange, and again at the end of the day, do you think? And I'll ask you this, right? I heard him say it publicly because he said it in interviews last week after the Man United game. I will make the decisions because no, I view football from my eyes, through my eyes. Do you think previous managers have said that? Not outwardly like we've heard, but do you think they've said that to Levy or not? I view football as
well,
I see it through my eyes.
listen. I wouldn't put it past Conte, um, in like a demanding kind of way. If you want me to go there and you want me to club to be successful, you got to do things my way and you got to bring the place I want. And yeah, if not, bugger off, kind of thing. It's not going to work. You may as well sack me now, kind of thing. And probably he would have said, you know, I want to do it my way. You bring the players I want in, and all of this. Um, I wouldn't put it past Mourinho, because he is a demanding manager. I wouldn't put it past either. Nuno, probably not. Probably didn't have time to even say hello. But um, but yeah, I mean, but then, but Ange's just different. He's magical, isn't he? Ange's just totally different. Mannerism about him is a totally different, you know,
The thing is, though,
personality.
okay. The thing is, though, the reason why I asked that is that I
Yeah,
believe
sure.
all these back managers believe in their football through their own eyes, and the people they want and don't want, it's all through their own eyes. And where I think, because I'm not privy to this, I'm not a fly on the wall. Where I think that our previous managers have probably had this, uh, their reasoning is through my eyes. It's what I like and what I want to see and whatever. And these conversations have probably happened behind closed doors.
Yeah,
The actual fact that made me chuckle a bit on Saturday was that Postecoglou can get away with it because he means it, but because he can get away with saying it to the public, and people will jump on board with everything he says, and he can
Yeah.
get away with it. Whereby I don't think any of the others could have got away with it if they come out publicly and
No.
said that. They wouldn't have got away with it. They've probably said it privately, but they haven't said it publicly, and we wouldn't. We'd dismiss what they're saying as you're an arrogant so and so. But with
Yeah.
Postecoglou, he says it publicly, and you actually believe the guy, and you actually jump on his bandwagon as well.
But that's what I'm saying. He's got a personality. He's got a way of doing things that the others come across as not. I mean, yeah, obviously, privately, probably not as you know, um, I don't know, hands-on kind of thing. So like when Conte blew his career up in the last press conference he had. But I'm sure that you know, he had his conversations with Levy or whoever he was talking to, and he probably demanded in quite a hot-headed way, and went down that road. But Ange doesn't have to, say one word, you know, higher than the other. He just, as what we've seen, or what he lets us see, it's just a kind of laid back kind of, well, this is what we need, and if you can't see that, you're a fool. Basically, that's what he's saying, but in a kind of, you know, with a little bow and very nice presented kind of way, and it's in your detriment if you don't see it,
Yeah,
because I don't care. I'm going to get paid anyway, and I can only work with the tools that you give me. Now, if we can't do more, well, don't look at me because I've asked for it. That's the kind of vibe that I get from him. But he does it in a very kind of like magical sorcerer kind of way, and he's good with words and he's good with people, and he kind of like manipulates you, but in a very very kind of subtle, you know, um, good charming way. Whilst the others are just hammer and tongs, they'll go at you and they want it and they want it and they want it. That's just the difference, I suppose. I mean, I don't know. Um, he'll get what he needs. He'll get what he needs because he just has a way, I suppose.
yeah.
Conte press conference was staged. Simple. I don't know. I don't know. I don't put anything past Conte because we've seen it in Italy as well. And I mean,
Yeah, but I don't think that was. I don't think he said. I think he'd had enough, and that was it. The thing I will
yeah,
say is,
he wanted his
right.
money.
I don't. Yeah, I don't wish ill on the person at all, and
No,
I know
no,
that
no, no, no,
he wasn't a well man as well, with everything that
no.
had gone on privately for him, and his
Yeah,
obvious his illness as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Getting his gallbladder removed, which my daughter had her gallbladder removed around the same time. But obviously she's younger than Conte, so as you get older, these operations are far worse for you. Um,
Mm.
but what's interesting is to me, I mean, I would have thought that when they got rid of him, he would have had to sign some sort of a disclosure document or disclaimer agreement or whatever. But it's interesting, and I'll say this now because I've not actually thought about it until his name's come up now, and I've heard his name come on other channels, but I've just thought about it today. He's gone quiet. I hope for number one, his health is all right,
Yeah, sure.
but it's all gone very quiet. He's not been linked with anyone. He's not put his head above the parapet or anything. So I'm just hoping, as I said, that his health is fine.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, although it's not going to be at Tottenham, there's space for Conte to be in football. And I
Of
hope
course.
that one, that his health is good and he can come back and he can find himself a club.
Mm.
Um, what do you think? What, have you heard anything
Yeah.
about Conte since he's
No,
been
listen,
gone?
listen. Yeah, listen. I haven't heard anything. What I was hearing when he blew himself up in the press conference was that Inter were not happy with Simone, and that his days were numbered, and that he was going to go back to Inter, and that he had an agreement with Inter. But that hasn't been the case because Simone is still at Inter, and Conte is nowhere to be seen. So yeah, we all say, look, it's nothing personal, it's all business. The same as Mourinho. I absolutely despised the man before he came to Madrid. I absolutely despised him times 1,000 when he was at Madrid because I thought he was completely despicable for the sport. But I don't have any ill will as as a person because I don't know him really. But then I saw a documentary about him, and I thought that he was exceptional. Um, you know, so it's just business. It's not personal. So yeah, of course, his health number one. You can't be a person if you haven't got health. So Conte, un abbraccio.
Yeah.
Um,
But the thing is,
um,
what I was going to say is that
so
but with when Jose left or
mm,
Jose, when Jose
Jo-
left,
Jose, yeah,
Jose when he left, he found himself a job quite quickly. Although okay, he hadn't had illnesses and that and an operation like
yeah,
Conte's
yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Mm,
Nuno, he went and he found the club quite quickly afterwards. Well, not as quickly as Mourinho, but quite
no,
quick.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know. As I said, I don't know whether it's something that something that he had to sign when he left Tottenham or whatever. But it's just that his head's not appeared, as I say, over that
no,
parapet. But
I,
I do know he had ill health before that, and as I said, for me,
yeah,
first and foremost, I hope that his ill health passes and he becomes better for it.
yeah,
And for me,
yeah,
I'm not gonna beat him up. He was our manager. He's gone, and I wish him well in the future. And I do think there's a
yeah,
place for him, possibly.
yeah,
Well, it won't be at Tottenham, but there'll be somewhere for him. And I hope he
yeah.
comes back.
Listen. Of course, because I ramble on a lot and I get confused. But um, if his health is 50-50, like if he hasn't totally recovered, because last year it wasn't just difficult for us, of course it was difficult for him, with the you know, with the members, his friends and whatever
The
they
three
passed.
passings that he had, yeah,
Yeah, the passings, his own health, the stress that he was probably going through with the job. I think he came back too early. That wasn't good. So
living
yeah,
away from his family as well.
yeah, correct. So I can only assume that he's just taking a sabbatical, keeping away from the limelight, and he can come back next year or whenever he feels like it or whenever his health permits. And he comes back stronger and renewed, and Italy probably, so that he can be nearer to his family. And he does a good job because he is a good manager. I mean, I'm not taking anything away. Whether we like his brand of football or not, he obviously deserves to be there. I mean, he was a good player. He's a good manager, um, and I don't wish him any ill at all. And good luck to him. As I said before, hug. Un abbraccio. And Conte, good luck to you, man. I mean, you know, no ill will. It's nothing personal. It's just business. So like
Right.
any player, any manager, anything. I don't wish any ill will to Nuno. I just think that it didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be. The same as Mourinho and Conte. To me, they weren't managers for Spurs. Um, and good luck to them, wherever they are in Roma, Al Hilal, or wherever. I think Nuno is Al Hilal or something. One of them, Al
Yeah,
Shabab.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know where they are. And
Al
Conte.
Etifak.
Al Ittifaq is where Steven Gerrard is.
Oh, is that what he is? Okay, because
Yeah.
the four main buyers out there, aren't they? So
Yeah. So, but yeah, good luck to all of them, and just stay safe, stay healthy, and there you go. I mean, I'm gonna have
right,
to shoot, Jose.
yeah, yeah. So
In
yeah,
a few.
I'm gonna end it now as well. So
Sure.
Chris, when are you next on, mate?
Yeah, possibly Thursday night, just to talk a bit about the menu and to preview the Burnley, the Bournemouth match.
Okay,
So yeah,
I'm thinking
possibly
about I'm
9 o'clock.
I'm thinking about doing something again, possibly on Monday.
Oh, okay, that
So
sounds
so
good.
I'll have a chat with you, and I'll have a chat with you about it, but
Yeah,
possibly Monday. And before I go, you're the last person I'm gonna thank. So I will go in order, and I am going to thank Adrian Stroker, uh,
big up, Adrian.
Ian Barron,
Well done, Ian.
Bobby K, Tot Spurs, and welcome to becoming a mod, and also to my co-host for today and my mod, Chris from Meta Football TV.
Thank you, everyone in
Um,
the chat.
as I said, it's been there. We go. Thank you as well, Tot Spurs. You've commented and you've helped us talk about subjects and to push the show along. So I thank you, everyone. Chris, I thank you as well. and
My pleasure.
we'll see whether we can roll again, and whether I can get back and click the right buttons this time and do this again on Monday.
It's always a red one. Just press the red one.
Okay, thank you everyone, and it's come on you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.